Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you're watching around the world. You're joining the Invictus Racing League Formula 2 Equal Performance Hot Laps edition. This is the show preceding the main event. I'm Energy Dan. I'll be your commentator this season. And joining me in the commentary box for Hot Laps and the main event is our last season's champion, Waris Lander. Waris, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. Good night to everyone.
Are you looking forward to Germany, mate? I love this track. What about yourself? Do you like it?
Yeah, I think it's a cool track. It's got a nice flow and it's quite tricky, important on the exits in some parts, and I think it can certainly deliver close racing with a lot of overtakes.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very high-speed track apart from two sections. I mean, you've only really got, from start to finish, only when you come into the middle part of Sector 2 with turns 8, 9 and 10. And then again in Sector 3 with turns 12, 13, 14, 15. Are they really only heavy turning sectors of the track? So, yeah, a lot of overtaking opportunities to be done, especially down the home finish straight round turn 1. And then obviously that really long DRS zone between turns 4 and 5 that leads up to the hairpin. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with people in the race with the setups, you know, a low downforce setup. If they can make it stick in the last sector, this could be really a turning point for the guys. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. But let's should we get you out on your outlap, and you can give us a bit of an explanation of what you think of the track and what you do. Yeah, good stuff, buddy.
Okay, so coming out of the pitch now. Yeah, I think this is just quite an average pit lane. It's, yeah, I think about 21 seconds. It's not like there's a very long pit road or something. And coming out of the pit, certainly during the race, it has some sort of corner into it, so you must be aware that you don't put too much throttle. Then going to turn 2, it's very easy to go too deep into that and brake too late, but you really have to be careful that you get a good exit, because that's the most important to this long straight towards the hairpin. Very late braking, very hard on the brakes as long as possible at full braking input. And coming out of this one, I go onto the curbs, but you shouldn't do that. You've got to try to stay off them to get the best traction possible. This corner easy flat, and then after the 50 meter, but you're braking again. This corner, try to get a good exit. Don't go too deep. Just a very slight lift into that one, as my DRS has been blocked. Bit of a shame, so I can't use the DRS now. Then coming into the stadium section, so yeah, this is technical, and then you gotta hug those curbs over there. Just try to not touch them, but you gotta stay close to them. And then the penultimate corner, very tricky. You can really easily lose the car there. Try to go to the inside of those curbs, and then you can start your lap without DRS this time, but I think it'll be okay. Yeah, of course, turn 1 very hard to, very difficult corner.
Very tricky corner, isn't it? Yeah.
To corner cut. By the way, I am on the soft tires now, and you shouldn't do that in your actual qualifying run, because they go up very easily in the race, and I'll let it to you now, by the way.
That's fine, buddy, yeah. So yeah, just coming up to the main hairpin, the sharpest hairpin of the circuit. Got to get your braking zone right. Not too sharp and not too, stay off that curb. Get it straightened up and come up to this nice turn 7, nice sweep. It's not even really a corner. You've got to cut the curb just nicely, and then setting up for this tricky section of 8, 9 and 10. And overcooking it really spoils your lap. You need to keep it tight. Come back right, full throttle around this section. It's flying down to this next section, which is very critical for the finishing part of this lap. Coming up now to the last few turns, 13, 14, 15. Again, very critical. Keeping the inside line as much as possible. Not oversteering like Waris Lander did there. And then again, these last 2 corners, very tricky to get this right. There's a few lines you can take, but obviously coming across the line, and Waris gets a 113.057. So not bad at all for rich fuel mix. Just reminding our watchers out there that Waris is driving around with a maximum of rich fuel. It's not a qualifying session. So yeah, Waris, how did you find that, mate? The softs don't seem to be fantastic round here. Obviously, in the grippier sections, they're great, but What would you say would be the best tyre for qualifying around here in terms of the race strategy?
Yeah, it should be the mediums. I think the softs are quick over one lap, and but they'll just go off too quickly, and it wouldn't just be comfortable to drive on them for such a long time in the race.
Yeah,
it's a maximum of 10 laps and then they're dead. And
this section here, Loris, what do you aim to do? Sorry to cut you off there. That corner that you just did there. What's the best way to set your car up for that corner? Because I see a lot of people taking different lines through those 3 corners. What would you say to do on those corners?
So yeah, you really got to try to brake late after the 50-meter, but you have to make sure that as soon as you get to the apex, you can start accelerating. Short shift to 3, and then you have to go very slight lift into the right-hander. And yeah, that's at least the way I do it, and I feel like that's the way I get the most pace through that corner.
Yeah, so as you take that last right-hand turn, you've kind of come off the throttle, and you're going back on full throttle, trying to get that car linked up, aren't you, to try and race down all that way to turn 12.
Yeah, you do. And so you mean out of that towards the stadium section, or sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah, so when you take the sharpest hairpin and you take the sweeping right-hander of turn 7, the one that's and that section that you come up to there, turn 8. I think I've seen a lot of racers taking different lines through there. You see some people trying to cut the corner, and it kind of it destabilizes the car. I see some people going quite deep, and then coming on a sweeping bend round. So I was just intrigued to see what your opinion was of that corners there.
Yeah, because it's certainly a corner where you can. It's very easy to kind of think you can go very deep into there, because you can be very late and still keep the car on track. But in my opinion, your exit won't be as good as you want over there then, and yeah, that ruins your run into the stadium, I guess. So I prefer to go slow in, fast out, actually.
Yeah. I mean, that's the general racing 101 of most corners on the world racing circuits. But you know, there are exceptions to the rule. There's many corners where you actually benefit not doing that. But the one thing that we need to take from this circuit, which I think you've already kind of touched on when we had our intro, is the DRS zones and the straights. It's an individual DRS zones. There's 2 of them, and they've both got their own detection zones. So it's not like you can get the one DRS detection and get 2 zones out. You've got to work for it. So I reckon, I don't know about you, if you agree with this, but I think we might see people overtaking through turn 1 and down to turn 2, but then it's switching back again when you come round into the second DRS zones, approaching turn 5.
Yeah, so you will have a chance to overtake, but I think if you're smart enough, you'll try to stay behind on the first and second straight, save your ERS and make the overtake into the third DRS zone, because otherwise the person behind will get you back anyway. Yeah,
so into the sharp hairpin, basically.
Yeah. So I mean, just wait. And I think by the way, we can really see some trains tonight, because the DRS on this track in particular, I had that feeling last week already, and certainly on this track because there's 3 DRS zones. I think as long as you can stay in the DRS, you can save up all your ERS and just stay behind, stick behind, and just wait to the end of the race actually to overtake. And you can save your tires and just keep driving a little bit more easily and let the driver in front do the work. So I think we could see that a lot tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. And I mean, yourself, you've already had a race round here this week for the F1 Assist Leagues, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, so obviously, did you see much, as you said about the train, did you see a lot of following around this track on Monday?
Yeah, I think there were like 2 groups. So there was the front pack, and then they were kind of stabilizing at some point in the race, so that there were some gaps. But I think certainly the second pack from P4 or P5 to P10, it was like they were like all race long together. So I think there's a big chance of seeing that again tonight.
Oh wow, okay. So do you fancy taking us around on one last hot lap for our viewers and just give us all you can?
Yeah. I'll just go on to the medium tire for this one then, and I'll try to push a little bit more. And hopefully he'll have the DRS this time.
Yeah. What happened with the DRS, Warris?
Yeah, I just told it on my outlap, but I told it quite quickly. I got a message from Jeff that my DRS wasn't working anymore, which makes no sense, of course.
Unbelievable, Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff's fault. Everything's Jeff's fault. So let's do this. Try to warm up your tires a bit.
See, I think what's also interesting with is turn 1, because it kind of brings you into a false sense of security. You think it's a nice, gentle, sweeping bend, but it's actually sharper than you think.
And that's the corner where everyone's going to pick up penalties tonight, I guess, because it's
whether it's the right or the left, yeah.
But it's you're going so quickly over there that you just almost can't find a point where you have to steering. It's just more of feeling, and if you got a lot of practice, you can do that right every lap. But if you're just not totally in your form, it's difficult to get that right.
Yeah, I mean,
every time around.
Just after the apex, it does actually slightly deviate downwards in elevation, so that's what makes you lose sight of the apex. So yeah, Warrior's coming across the finish line now, racing down to this dreaded corner of turn 1. As we see, he's going to pick his braking point, cuts it very nicely, stays off that left curb.
It wasn't validated, but I'll just go on.
Okay, we'll carry on anyway. But yeah, and very similar to turn 1, but much sharper. Get the traction locked up as we race down to our first DRS zone. Rear wing opens up. Now again, this is coming up to another tricky section. Very reminiscent of the Hungaroring, I think, this corner. Straighten up now. Very long straight with a slight bend coming up. So this is that corner we're on about. Turn 7 that leads up to that technical turn. So let's see what Rice does here. Does he go sharp? Yes, he does. Bit of a lock up on the front left. Other than lock up, absolutely beautiful line there. So yeah, that's what I was on about earlier about the either going wide or going tight. Linking it up now for this last technical circuit, technical section. We are on the medium tyres, so obviously a little bit trickier for this last section. Just feathers the throttle on ever so nicely, lifts again and then pins it out over the line.
Yeah, so I just wasn't able to do a quicker lap time. It was a bit of a scruffy lap, and the medium tyres just didn't have the grip.
The
final sector.
They're horrible to warm up though, those medium tyres, especially on a short lap like this. You know, if it's somewhere like Canada where you've got quite a long circuit, you can warm them up. You know, it's more than doable. But so yeah, we understand your frustrations there, mate.
Yeah, but I think yeah. So the pole lap in F1 this Monday was 1:12.1, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's very quick already. Yeah, it depends on if we see someone going on to the softs.
Do you think?
Yeah,
think anybody?
Then we could go into the 111s, but otherwise it's just I think mid 12s or something.
So you think the majority of the front runners will go on mediums and maybe the back runners will go on softs?
Well, I think there's only just. Well, there was the winner of Monday was on the softs.
Oh really?
So that was an incredible performance from him, but that I think that even he won, that even wasn't the best strategy. I think there's only one strategy that's at least that's the most comfortable strategy, you know.
Okay, right. Yeah, I mean,
and that's going to be the medium hard for me. Hard medium could also be a good one, but I don't think you want to do that in qualifying because you're going to be
super
very
slow,
far to the back. But I think, as I said, if you can stay in that train with DRS and you can keep saving up your ERS to stay with that pack, then you can go on to the mediums on a lower fuel, and the pit window is around lap 16, 17, so it's just in the middle of the race, which means that when you kind of don't get a lap time in or something in qualifying and you start on the hards, the race shouldn't be over for you yet, because you can have a very good second stint.
Yeah. I mean, I'm super excited for this race, because the one thing I've found about Hockenheim is the weather's unbelievable. So, you know, we could very well have a wet qualifying. We could very well have a wet race. You know what I'm like, Warislander. I always get excited about the rain because it just throws up so many curveballs for the drivers, and it makes it super interesting for the viewers. So, without being sadistic towards the drivers, I actually quite hope it's a wet race. I really do. But it'll be interesting to see about strategy. We'll soon see. We've only got 35 minutes to go until the main event. But yeah, if you're happy with that, Warislander, we'll leave it there until the main event. Thank you ever much for taking us round on that hot lap. Very interesting to see. As always, it's a pleasure to have you, mate. It's going to be a pleasure working next to you this season. It's going to be brilliant, mate. So yeah, in 35 minutes' time, we will have the main event on the Invictus Racing League channel on YouTube. Do join us 8 o'clock sharp, where Warislander and myself, Energy Dan, will be taking over the session and proceeding over the commentary of all our racers joining our sessions. It's going to be super exciting. So, Warislander, I'll see you in about 35 minutes, if that's okay with you, buddy?
Yeah, I'll see you, mate, and I'll see the viewers too then.
Yeah, everyone at home, we'll see you soon in 35 minutes for the main event around Hockenheim, round 2, Formula 2 Invictus Racing League Equal Performance. See you soon, guys. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.